Have you ever imagined that one single moment, one decision that seemed harmless, could change an entire life forever? 1 minute, Betsy Swain was just another teenager dreaming about the future. The next, she was lying unconscious in hospital, unable to move properly, unable to speak clearly, her entire future hanging by a thread. And what doctors discover next sends shockwaves through Weatherfield unlike anything we've seen before. Welcome back to Coronation Street Update. Today we're breaking down one of the most emotional, heartbreaking, and important storylines Coronation Street has tackled in years. This isn't just another shocking twist. It's a devastating reminder that sometimes the greatest dangers are the ones nobody sees coming. And by the end of this story, nothing will ever be the same for Betsy. The nightmare begins without warning. Betsy is found unconscious. Panic spreads instantly. Her loved ones have no idea what's happened. Questions race through everyone's mind. Has she been attacked? Was it an accident? Is her life in danger? The hospital becomes a place of fear as doctors rush to save her. But then everything changes. After a series of urgent medical examinations, the devastating truth finally emerges. Betsy hasn't suffered one stroke. She's suffered two strokes. For someone so young, the diagnosis feels almost impossible to believe. Everyone is left asking the same question. How could this happen? The answer is more shocking than anyone expected. Doctors discover that a blood clot formed in Betsy's neck after she was consensually strangled during an intimate encounter with her boyfriend, Dylan Wilson. The damage to her artery triggered two catastrophic strokes. In a single moment, two young lives are changed forever. This isn't a story about villains. It isn't about deliberate cruelty. It's about a tragic lack of awareness. A decision made without understanding the terrifying risks. And that may be the most heartbreaking part of all. Imagine Dylan's state of mind. Only hours earlier he believed he was sharing a private, intimate moment with someone he cared deeply about. Now, the girl he loves is lying in a hospital bed. Half of her body paralyzed. Unable to smile properly. Struggling to form simple words. The crushing weight of guilt must be unimaginable. Psychologically, Dylan now faces a nightmare that may haunt him forever. How do you forgive yourself when one decision has consequences neither of you ever imagined? Even if no harm was intended, the emotional burden could become almost impossible to escape. But Betsy's battle is only just beginning. Surviving the strokes is only the first chapter. Recovery is another mountain entirely. Half of her body is paralyzed. Her face has visibly changed. One side droops. Her speech is slurred. Simple conversations become exhausting. Simple movements become daily challenges. Every mirror reminds her that life has changed overnight. What happens next is devastating. Because strokes don't only attack the body. They attack confidence, identity, independence, hope. For someone as young as Betsy, the psychological trauma could be every bit as painful as the physical injuries. Coronation Street isn't simply showing a medical emergency. It's exploring the emotional aftermath. Imagine waking up knowing your future suddenly looks completely different. Will Betsy return to school? Will people treat her differently? Will Dylan stay by her side? Or will guilt slowly destroy the relationship before either of them has a chance to heal? These questions make the storyline feel painfully real. Because recovery isn't measured only by hospital tests. It's measured by every difficult conversation, every tear, every setback, every tiny victory. One of the most powerful aspects of this storyline is that Betsy's condition wasn't created through violence or malice. Instead, it exposes something far more frightening. A lack of understanding. Many young people believe certain risky behaviors are harmless. But Coronation Street is shining a light on consequences that few people ever imagine. That's what makes this storyline so emotionally powerful. It forces both the characters and the audience to confront uncomfortable truths. Sometimes tragedy doesn't arrive with warning signs. Sometimes it arrives in complete silence. Sydney Martin has spoken openly about preparing for this incredibly demanding role. Despite being familiar with the topic because of her generation, she admitted she was shocked to learn that strokes can affect young people. Determined to portray the experience authentically, she spoke with stroke survivors, researched the long-term effects, and even sought advice from actors who had previously portrayed stroke recovery on television. That dedication is reflected in every scene. The facial drooping, The slurred speech. The emotional vulnerability. These aren't simply dramatic performances. They're designed to reflect the reality many stroke survivors face every single day. And that authenticity is likely to make Betsy's journey one of Coronation Street's most unforgettable stories. But that may not be the whole story. Because while Betsy faces months, perhaps years, of rehabilitation, what happens to Dylan? Emotionally, he may become another victim of that terrible night. Guilt has a way of consuming people. He'll replay every second, every decision, every conversation, wondering if he could have stopped what happened. Wondering if Betsy will ever forgive him. Or worse, whether he'll ever forgive himself. This psychological burden could push Dylan into one of the darkest chapters of his own life. Meanwhile, Lisa Swain and Carla Connor now face every parent's greatest nightmare. Watching someone they love suffer while feeling completely powerless. Parents always want to protect their children. But how do you protect someone from a danger neither of you even knew existed? The fear. The helplessness. The heartbreak. Every hospital visit will remind them how quickly life can change. And every small sign of progress will become a reason to hope again. My prediction? This storyline is only beginning. The physical recovery will be incredibly difficult. But the emotional recovery may prove even harder. Betsy will have to rebuild her confidence. Dylan will have to live with overwhelming guilt. Their relationship will face impossible pressure. Some couples grow stronger after trauma. Others fall apart beneath its weight. Whether Betsy and Dylan can survive this together remains one of the biggest questions Coronation Street has left hanging. What makes this storyline so different from many others is that there isn't a traditional villain. The real enemy is ignorance. And that's exactly why this story feels so emotionally devastating. Coronation Street isn't asking viewers to choose sides. It's asking them to understand the consequences. To ask difficult questions. And perhaps even save lives through awareness. Sometimes television is at its most powerful not when it entertains, but when it starts conversations that matter. Now it's your turn. Do you think Betsy and Dylan's relationship can survive such a life-changing tragedy? Will Dylan forgive himself for what happened? Could this become one of the most heartbreaking recovery stories Coronation Street has ever told? And do you think Betsy will eventually make a full recovery, or will this tragedy permanently change her future? Let us know your theories in the comments below. If you enjoyed this emotional Coronation Street breakdown, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications because here on Coronation Street Update, we cover every heartbreaking twist, explosive spoiler, and hidden theory from Weatherfield. Thank you so much for watching. Remember, sometimes the biggest tragedies don't begin with hatred. They begin with one innocent moment that changes everything forever.